Join the world's biggest 3-round NRL tipping comp at knowyourfooty.com.au. T's and C's apply.
Ladies and gentlemen,
It's the Sydney radio show that stood the test of time. Now,
absolutely brilliant.
into its third decade, rocking Saturday mornings on Triple M.
Here comes the ready and now. Listen to the crowd roar.
Triple M's Dead Set Legends.
So welcome back.
Gus Warland, Jude Bolton, and Wendell Saylor.
Yeah, welcome back to the second hour of the Dead Set Legends. Wendell, Jude and Gus. It's all thanks to playup.com.au, your best bet on racing and sport. Mate, playup.com.au, your best bet for racing and sport. Whenever you need it, PlayUp unifies the world's favourite betting products, including fixed odds sports betting, fixed odds racing, exports, as well as daily fantasy sports. So make sure you go and see them at playup.com.au and gamble responsibly. We're going to be speaking a little bit later in the show, boys, to Paul Gow, who is right amongst it when it comes to the Masters. And we've got an Aussie right up there at the top at the moment.
Yeah, Mark Leishman has had a good couple of rounds early on, and it's just great to see an Aussie in contention. Cam Smith's back a little bit, but we know he can have a bit of a run at it as well.
Exactly.
It doesn't
right.
really feel like the Masters this year.
Why? Because of the crowd, or
Oh, you know why?
why?
You know why?
Oh, no Tiger.
No Tiger.
Yeah.
You know, just doesn't
Sad,
feel the
isn't
same. But still, I got up this morning, had a bit of a look. But, yeah, just doesn't feel like the Masters.
No, exactly. No, I do understand where you're coming from, and a little bit of information during the week about that he was driving so much faster than he should have been and stuff. Does that change your opinion on exactly what happened?
No, not really. Mate, he's a risk taker. That's just the way Tiger lived his life and how he's lived it, sorry. He's not gone yet. So, but yeah, he could have been. He could have been.
He survived it. You know that, don't you? What about you and your golf? Any golfing stories this week?
I could tell you some good ones and bad ones. You know, the first time I actually played golf, because everyone thinks, I've won a few tournaments and stuff, and I've told you about that, the Jack Newton Celebrity
You've told
Classic.
us
What do you
about
mean you won a few tournaments? I've never seen. I played with you once, and you literally can hardly get off the tee box.
Roddy, I know you're lying. But so the Jack Newton Celebrity Classic, I won the celebrity part twice. But one day I was playing with Benny Eichen. Two good stories here. One of them, every
We'll be
golfer,
the judge of that,
every
mate.
golfer loves the hole-in-one story. Anyway, so Benny Eichen, I play a bit of one-on-one, and at Indooroopilly members, and imagine playing golf one-on-one with me, because I can really punish you. If I'm going good, I'll let you know, and if I'm going bad, you won't hear anything from me, Gus. A bit like that golf day on the back nine. Anyway, so Benny Eichen hits his ball onto the green, and it's about 10 foot from the pin anyway. So we're looking for mine. I'm thinking, I've hit it all right here. Anyway, I went over the back, went over the trees. I'm going, man, I can't believe I go back to the tee. Benny Eichen walks up to the middle of the green, and he goes, mate, you're not going to believe it, hole in one. Oh, mate. So for the next, 7 holes.
So you didn't see it go in,
I didn't
obviously.
see it go in. Mate, you'll find this different, but I wasn't really. I hit it, and then I was just happy to get in the cart and drive off. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so
Didn't want to just roll around and
I don't like to carry on too much, but anyway. But, yeah. But the first time I actually played golf, we know it's a hard sport, and Gus, the first Broncos golf day, those big corporate golf days, we used to have the high at Coolum, so the Broncos, they'd get you there for a couple of days and stuff, and we'd have a couple of good days. So the first actually pro-am I played in was the Broncos one. I lost 16 golf balls.
Oh,
because I was
16.
Yeah, 16. Because, mate, I didn't know how to swing it. And it's the first time. And the Broncos said everyone's got to play. Like these days, they sort of make it compulsory. Or you can play if you don't want to play. But 16 golf balls, and after that, I lost in the water. And after that, I thought, I'll get a few lessons. And that's when Tiger Woods came on the scene in 96, 97, sort of. So everyone
Fell
thought
in love with it
golf.
after
It's
that.
snaky. It's a bit snaky.
Yeah, and
You don't go into
Nike
deep.
sponsored us.
Oh, nicely done. So we want to talk about the Masters.
Yeah.
We've got 2 stories out of you. That was good. Big set of 6 coming up next, thanks to our mates at Paddy's Markets.
Another Sydney Saturday morning. Now around the track for another lap.
Absolutely brilliant.
The Triple M Dead Set Legends.
With over 1,000 stands in 2 huge locations, you're sure to find a bargain at Paddy's. Visit paddysmarkets.com.au.
Six big ones.
6 big ones.
The big set of 6.
Yeah, the big set of 6 opportunities for Jude and I to ask Del questions all around the great game of rugby league. Go for it, Jude.
Tackle one, Del. Okay, how does Kevy Walters turn it all around at the Broncos? And considering neither Croft, Dearden or Milford have really stepped up, is it time to go all out for Adam Reynolds?
Yeah, that's a great question. Look, oh, geez,
You
that's
got a great answer?
Mate, you got to stick with someone with experience, mate. You can go with the young kids, but whoever he goes with, he's got to stick with. So if Milford's not his future, play Milford off the bench as a 14 as a utility and go with Deedon. But I hear that Deedon's been looked at to go to the Cowboys and that. He's just got to stick with a halves combination or a spine that makes him happy, completes the team, because you just can't have, every couple of weeks a change to the spine.
Milford's not the guy, though, is he?
I don't think so. No, he's definitely not the guy. They've got to go somewhere else. Milf, I think his best year was the grand final in 2015 when the Cowboys won. Obviously, he was best on the field that day. But he hasn't been good. No matter what you've done to him, Benji Marshall put it on him a couple of years ago. Said, look, he just probably doesn't do the extras, and he plays within himself, and just nothing seems to. And I like Milford as a player. I watched him come through to Canberra and that, but he just needs to go to another club or something. He's just not the answer at the Broncos, and he keeps getting chance after chance. But I'd like to see Deedon get a proper go. Yeah. Deedon hasn't got to go. Brady Croft's not your man either. But Melbourne wouldn't let someone go that they thought they could, lead him into the future, and so he's certainly not their man either.
Righto, tackle 2. Righto, do you think Cody Walker can still be the same player he is now? He's at the top of his game, potentially without Adam Reynolds next year and beyond?
Look, Adam Reynolds is very good at what he does, but I think Cody Walker is such a special player. I think the combination that he has with Latrell, I think that's the most important one. I know your 6 and 7 is important, but I think someone can come in there and play a role. Reynolds is very good, but Cody Walker is a special talent, and I think we'll see the best of Cody Walker in the next 2 or 3 years.
All right, tackle 3. Jake Friend officially retired this week following medical advice. Some 20 concussions across the career. Sad way to go out, but the right decision. Del, could Jake Friend be one of the most underrated hookers of all time?
Yeah, I think one of the most underrated players. I mean, I like when Jake went through a tough time. He ate a bit of humble pie, went and worked in that cafe. That gentleman who, he took him under his wing. And I just feel sorry for him that he had a bloke called Cameron Smith in front of him, because he would have played a lot more Origin football. And for the Roosters, he's been like, heart and soul of that. To hear Cooper Cronk talk about, Jake Friend puts his head where none of us would even think to do it, I think that says a lot about Jake Friend, and just the outpouring of respect and love for Jake Friend this week. It's been a tough one, and I've always loved watching Jakey play, and I'm glad that he got to play Origin, because that arena's made for him.
Yeah, and Player of the Year for Queensland last year in last year's Origin series. Certainly not underrated at the Roosters, as you'd know, Jude. Most loved and respected. And, of course, we do the set of 6 thanks to our mates at Paddy's. With over 1,000 stands in 2 huge locations, you're sure to find a bargain at Paddy's. Visit paddysmarkets.com.au. Tackle 4, Wayne Bennett confirmed this week he is returning, Del, to Brisbane next year, where he is more of a chance of landing that either back at the Broncos, or is he going to sit out and join the expansion side in 2023?
Oh, this is Wayne Bennett at his best. He just knows he's going back.
Doesn't miss a feed.
No, he doesn't. No, he's letting the Broncos know that he's going back. So the Broncos keep struggling, and then obviously the expansion club. So, mate, what he's doing, he sells himself better. But I think for him, he's more chance of sort of helping Kevy out there, because if they keep struggling, the Bronco hierarchy, they're just thinking, mate, we need to do something here, because that fan base of Broncos, they're not happy at the moment the way they're playing.
Coaching sort of role.
Yeah, 100%. But I don't know if Wayne will want to do that. Kevy will eat a bit of humble pie, because Kevy wants to do it himself at the moment. But it's looking very difficult and looking more frustrating for Kevy. It's a big project there. But Wayne Bennett, he is a master.
Tackle 5, Del. Can the Warriors still make a charge for the 8 with Adam Fanua-Blake out for the rest of the season?
No, look, they weren't in my 8 anyway, and I don't think they will. They were playing some really good football. Nathan Brown, he's good at getting a team together the way they played last year. They'll go back to, I think, New Zealand in June, July, which, I think their first home game
could help them
in 2 years. Yeah, that could help. But I just think, we saw last night, Fanua-Blake sets that standard. I know they've got a few injuries at the moment, but look, I just can't see the Warriors making the 8, even though they've got some talented players there. They should have won that game last night.
What about the last tackle here? We spoke about it last week, Del, but Michael Morgan has officially retired now due to a chronic shoulder injury. Real sad one.
Oh, it is, mate. People said, he hasn't been the same since JT left, but I think when he got them to the grand final, I think Melbourne took him apart. He started to put his own sort of touch on the team, and it just hasn't been right. That shoulder hasn't been right, so hasn't gone well for Michael Morgan. Remembered as one of the real good utilities in rugby league and especially representative football. And that pass to Cole Felt in the grand final, broke my heart as a as a Bronco, but as an All Queenslander, I was really happy for them.
That's the big set of 6. Thank you very much to Paddy's. Coming up next, we chat with Greg Rust on all things motorsport for Bendix Brakes.
Another Sydney Saturday morning. Now around the track for another lap.
Absolutely brilliant.
The Triple M. Dead. Set. Legend. Legends.
The Dead Set Legends on Sydney's 104.9 Triple M. Wendell Saylor, Jude Bolton and Gus Warland. And it's all thanks to playup.com.au, your best bet on racing and sport. When we're talking motorsport, we talk to this man.
Rusty's Motorsport Update for Bendix. Bendix Brakes. Put your foot down with confidence.
Yeah, Greg Russ from Rusty's Garage Podcast is on the line from Canberra, where he's covering the Australian Rally Championship. And Molly Taylor, an incredible ambassador for women in motorsport, and she has taken an important win on the global stage for former Formula One world champ Nicky Rosberg. Greg, g'day.
Gus, good morning to you and to the boys there. Yeah, I mean, she's been an Australian Rally champion in recent years. Nico Rosberg, the ex-F1 world champion, owns a Formula one of these Extreme E teams now, along with Lewis Hamilton. So they're SUVs. They've got about 550 horsepower. They're all electric, so it sort of shines a light on environmental issues. Yeah, opening round in Saudi Arabia, and she and her teammate won it. So it's a very, very cool thing for her. And as we talk, she's back in quarantine in Melbourne, doing it tough for the next couple of weeks. But a brilliant start on the international stage for her.
Now, Rusty, you've also spoken to Shane Van Gisbergen recently on the show, but tell us about the special piece of history he chalked up last weekend.
Only two people have what's called the Triple Crown, so wins at the three key events at Bathurst. So last weekend, Shane won the Bathurst 6 hour for production cars. He's already done it in the 12 hour for GT or sports cars, and as you guys know, last October he won the big one, the 1,000 there. So pretty cool thing. Only other driver to do it is Paul Morris, and Shane said on New Zealand radio this year that he's obviously a bit popular at the moment with how well things are going for him. They said, "What do you put it down to?" And he kind of joked. He said, "Well, Scotty McLaughlin's effed off to America, so maybe that's
that's a good call."
So, yeah, good call.
Well, Rusty, you know I love my F1, and what about off to Italy for round 2? But our man Dan Ricciardo, he's talking about wanting to have a crack at Bathurst. What's going on?
Wendell, wouldn't this be a cool thing to see? So he got to drive Rick Kelly's Nissan at the Grand Prix circuit at Albert Park in recent years. The fellow who's the boss of the McLaren team, who he now drives for, is also part owner of the Walkinshaw Supercars team here that Chaz Mostert races for. So it's something that could be organised. Even if he can't contest the race, he's already said to his boss, "Hey, wouldn't it be awesome to go to the mountain and drive a supercar there at some stage?" So we've got to get, hopefully, a window in the schedule and get supercars to make that happen. That would be awesome.
Absolutely right. Can you just quickly remind us on Netflix, that Formula One show that people have been ringing up and asking about it? What's that one where it sort of goes in behind the scenes?
It's called Drive to Survive. It's season 3, so there are 3 seasons you can catch up on it. It's awesome, guys, because it takes you behind the scenes and you get to meet the characters of the sport, not just the competition. It's really well done.
Beautiful. Thanks a lot, Greg. Professional as awesome, mate. Way too professional for this show. Yeah. That's all thanks to Bendix Brakes. Put your foot down with confidence. Greg Russ, have a great weekend, brother.
You too, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
There you are. Coming up, we're going to have a chat about, is it time for the draft in the NRL, just like in the AFL? Blowout scores and sides that are so much stronger than the others. Is it time to try to level up the playing field? Need your thoughts on 13353. Make sure I have a good prize for you as well. Give us a call right now.
Another Sydney Saturday morning. Now around the track for another lap.
Absolutely brilliant.
The Triple M Dead Set Legends.
Yeah, the Dead Set Legends on Sydney's 104.9 Triple M. Wendell, Jude and Gus, and it's all thanks to playup.com.au, your best bet on racing and sport, our new show sponsor. And we spoke last week, boys, with the National Rugby League. There's 7 teams we reckon you can pretty much lock away into the top 8. But there's 9 teams there, and some of them have got no chance of making the finals already. It's the first time where you feel like there isn't an even spread across rugby league, and you're looking at games and going, they're not 50-50s anymore. You know, that they're going to beat them. Tipping's never been easier. In the paper today, they're talking, Jude, about bringing a draft in, a player draft in, just like they do in the AFL and obviously other sports in America as well. Can you tell us exactly how it sort of works and how it might work in rugby league?
Okay, so in essence, it's one of the big equalisation measures that they can draw on. And the big thing is you reverse order the ladder. They get the first pick in the draft, so the best young talent coming into the game, they get their opportunity to scan all the leagues and say, okay, let's bring that into our club and bolster our list and keep the competitiveness. So, you know, as it stands now, like, you know, winless Bulldogs and the winless Cowboys, you know, they would be pick 1 and 2 in the draft at the draft at the end of the season. And, you know, you look at the the youngsters coming into the league at the moment, and they're buoyed by big contracts quite often from the best teams at the moment, or their development pathways, and even the likes of Penrith have an enormous region that they can pick from, and they're developing these players. There's talk of the best 40 or 40 to 45 players in Penrith could be bolstering other teams here. So I think it's a great equalisation measure that the NRL should have a think about.
Yeah, I think we have to move with the times now. Look, for the last, for however long, I suppose, just because the Broncos, you used to have a lot of talent going through there, but obviously Melbourne and everyone does their own recruiting now, and the Broncos haven't got the share of the market. But not just that, but I just want to see the comp evened out a bit more now. Not just because the Dragons and the Broncos have been getting flogged the last couple of years, but the superpowers like Melbourne, obviously I know you guys do all the right things, the Bunnies, you all seem to have the cream of the crop, Melbourne Storm, but I just think it's time to sort of level the playing field up a bit now.
The cons to this sort of thing is that you do develop those youngsters all the way through, and you have got that region that you're developing, and then you don't get access because another club comes and picks it up. But in the AFL and other leagues, they have a set number of years that they are contracted to, and then you can go and approach them again. So generally it's the two and done. They have to go there. They have to say that they're going to play for the team that they've been selected in the draft. So it's interesting.
What about he got a good young talent? He's from Sydney, and all of a sudden, let's say the West Coast Eagles end up picking him up in the draft. He has to go to Perth.
Has to. Otherwise you sit out for 2 years. So have to go.
Yeah, okay. So that puts a lot of power in terms of the club, and not so much in terms of the player who might just want to stay at home and play for his local club that he's loved and supported all his life.
Yeah, and that's the con to it. But I think in terms of evening out the competition so there isn't blowouts, I think it's a great equalisation.
What about clubs just being better at recruiting, better at keeping players at their club, better at making their juniors, a better group?
That's always going to occur. I think there's always more professional clubs, and there's better structures, there's better environments for players to step in and thrive. That's always going to be the nature. But I think in the premise of making it an even competition, so fans turn up to a game and go, this is a 50-50 contest, I think that's what we all want.
What about not having the comp even? What about just better clubs becoming better and the weaker clubs eventually die?
Then you get into the Premier League where only 3 or 4 teams are competing each year.
It's like your Liverpool. They're not even in the top 4 this year, are they?
Well, not at the moment, but I'm sure that they will be. We are the champions.
Yeah,
but good clubs become better, and the other clubs can just die off.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that anymore.
Okay. You've had your thought, thought, I've had mine. Let's go to the people that count. 133353 for your chance to see the Sydney Kings live at the Kudos Bank Arena next Thursday and Sunday. We've got tickets available for the best callers coming up next. You can also get them at ticketek.com.au. Your thoughts on the draft? We'd love to hear from you after this.
Another Sydney Saturday morning. Now around the track for another lap.
Absolutely brilliant.
The Triple M Dead Set Legends.
Yeah, the Dead Set Legends on Sydney's 104.9 Triple M. Wendell Saylor, Jude Bolton and Gus Wallen. It's all thanks to playup.com.au, your best bet on racing and sport. And don't forget to subscribe to the Dead Set Legends podcast on the Triple M app to listen anytime at triplem.com.au, and give us a call, as plenty of people have, on 133353 if you want to join the conversation at any time. We're talking about, is it draft time in the NRL like it is in so many other sports overseas, and especially in the AFL here in Australia? Blowout scores, and the fact that we can look at the NRL comp right now and say there's 7 teams, and the 7th team being the Titans, and everyone else you can pretty much lock in. There's 9 teams that cannot win the competition this year. And people are saying it's the playing field is not level. We need to get it level somehow. And the draft is an opportunity to do exactly that. We've got plenty of callers. Paul from St Clair is going to be the first one to give his thoughts. Is it time for a draft in the NRL, Paul?
I don't think so. If you take a bit of a different look at it, have a look at the AFL history. The NRL haven't had the draft while the ARL have. The NRL have had more premiers over the last 16 years than the AFL. And you've got teams like the Gold Coast Suns that have had extra picks than everyone else, and for 11 seasons have been in the league now. They have not made the finals once, have not had one successful season with over 50% win ratio. And this is the first year the AFL has been harder to tip than the NRL. So just on one bad year, isn't a reason to copy another league that has a worse record.
Yeah,
Paul
makes a good point around the dynasties. I mean, obviously the Storm have had a big run at it in the NRL, but
Roosters.
there has been, and the Roosters obviously 3 premierships as well. So
we know, mate.
Won 3 of the last 4 AFL comps. Before that, you had Hawthorn win 3 in a row. You had Geelong win a whole heap at the same time. Like, if in the last 16 years, I think the AFL's only had 7 different teams win it. And so if the draft's not working for them, why copy them?
Paul, congratulations. Best call I think we've ever had. Appreciate that, mate. Stay on the line.
Mate, I don't know about that.
Oh, he was very solid, mate.
Solid. Righto, Craig.
Kept you without
From
speaking.
Borkham Hills. How you doing, Craig?
Good, mate. Good. I'm going to back Paul up too. I didn't even look at the stats. I just reckon why would Penrith pump all the money into all those juniors if they got 40 players and they're going to lose 35 of them, mate? Look at Melbourne. They're a satellite club and they've done their successes on the back of Craig Bellamy, on the back of their coaching. Some of the clubs that haven't fared so well, it's on the back of bad coaching or back in contracts where they've made some bad decisions. The club has.
So the thing there, Craig, is that all that money that they're investing for developing their pathways would then be there for developing retention policies and making sure everything's around the club solid so that they stay and keep their players, and they wouldn't have to be a burden on the club to develop such a big area. That's the other thing. So
Okay.
but solid call as well, Craig.
Yeah, thank you, Craig. What about Gordon in Marylands? What are your thoughts on the draft in the National Rugby League?
No, we don't need it, mate. We don't need it at all. We don't need to be AFL. We don't need to be NFL. We need to be NRL. So, all the clubs that are developing players, if you're smart about what you do, then you become a smart club. You become a winning club. You don't have to be the winning club. So long as you bring yourself up into contention to be competitive, that's all that I can see. We don't need to go down anyone else's path.
Good on you, Gordon.
Oh,
What are your
the fans have
thoughts,
spoken.
Del?
Well, the fans have spoken,
What do you think?
Oh, I'd like to see a draft come in. No, but the fans, they've got a fair point, but I just think we're going to need to even up because, mate, the big power brokers, and I know you put money, some of those clubs at the bottom of they don't have the money to put into the system or the juniors to do it. Roosters just go and buy, other juniors from
Why every time you don't know what you want to talk about, you just blame the Roosters?
No, I don't. I'm just saying, like Sam Walker, he's not from New South Wales, but you went and, recruited him from South East Queensland.
So many people that we couldn't get to as well. And we've had a poll, 100% of callers do not want a draft. And Paul from St Clair, you're going to get the tickets, 4 passes to see the Sydney Kings take on the Cairns Taipans next Saturday at Kudos Bank Arena. Thank you so much for all the callers. They were great.
Another Sydney Saturday morning. Now around the track for another lap.
Absolutely brilliant.
The Triple M Dead Set Legends.
Dead Set Legends on Sydney's 104.9 Triple M. Wendell Saylor, Jude Bolton and Gus Wallen, with all thanks to playup.com.au, your best bet on racing and sport. And we've now got the Fox Sports Masters expert, Paul Gow, on the line. Gowie, what a day for Australia. Looks like we've got a guy that's really competing.
Yeah, he certainly is. And, he mightn't have had the form leading into this event, but his coach, Dennis McDay, told me earlier in the week, he said he's hitting his irons as good as he's ever seen. And this golf course is really set up for a ball striker. And we know Leash is a really good player, but he's going to go to another level if he can pull this off.
Gowie, a couple of, obviously, headline acts have really struggled. Dustin Johnson, obviously, 20 under last year, and then he's 6 over, and then you've got Scotty.
Has he missed the cut there at 6 over?
Yeah.
He's 5 over, yeah. And then McElroy as well. So there's some really struggling, aren't they?
Yeah, they certainly did. Well, someone like Dustin, who, it takes him an hour and a half to watch 60 minutes. This week, it's been a tough week for him because he's the defending champion. He's come off a record score. And just not quite played as good this year. And his putter really, this morning early on there, it was awful. And he just didn't get himself in the right spot. And McElroy, well, he was not good either. I think he hit a shank. He made us all look really good on 10 today. He hit the big shank in there. And the commentators were going, I think that is a shank. Well, no, where he hit that is they bury elephants out there. It is awful. So he's made us all look human. But, it's a leaderboard still there that is just full of really good players.
Good to see a good friend of mine, Jordan Spieth, come back in a bit of form recently.
A good friend of yours. He wouldn't know you if he fell over you.
I met him at the straight open. We had a photo. I got a photo with him. I'm claiming him.
Hey, you know, he still talks about you.
Yeah.
Like, every time I'm over there, I'm doing an interview. Oh, how's that Wendell going?
Yeah. Well, if he's not talking about me, I'm talking about me. Okay. Like, yeah, mate. He's last couple of years has been a bit lean for him. What's turned around there? He's 400 at the moment.
Yeah, he's done. This is a good story for golf because Jordan Spieth, he's one of the good guys, and he's good for, when you watch him, he tells you what he thinks. He wears his heart in his sleeve, and he did struggle. He was getting the club stuck behind him. He stuck with his coach, was an Australian guy, Kem McCormick, and he just got through it. But what he did about 6 weeks ago, he took 4 weeks off and said, "I'm just going to freshen up." And since he's come back, he's had a 12th, an 8th, and a win. Yeah. So he won Valero last week, and everyone thought he was probably going to be dusted from Valero because it takes a lot of mental strength to win a golf tournament, but he's right in it. He's played well here before. He's won here before, and nearly won again the year that Willett ended up winning. So why wouldn't you? If you've got your money on him, you'd be pretty happy the way he's played. And he got over par yesterday. He triple bogeyed the ninth yesterday and come back. So a big effort to get back where he is.
What about Justin Rose? Obviously, he's started well. Yesterday had 7 under, but then even today. But he's had a history of starting well in Masters tournaments and then falling away. How do you see him playing it?
Yeah, well, it was sort of faltering near the end of his round yesterday. He sort of hit a couple of loose shots and got away with them, and then it sort of come back. But to his credit, he fought back this afternoon, or this morning, I should say, in that back nine, and had 3 under the back nine to get into contention. He knew he wasn't going to pull away from the field. The golf called it up to be hard and fast, and it's going to be, if they don't get any rain, I wouldn't imagine they'll get to double figures. So somewhere around about that 5 to 7 under will be the number. And he's been around a long time. He was unlucky that year that Sergio won. I thought he was going to be the winner down the stretch, and we'd all like to see Justin Rose win. Yeah, we'd rather see a foreigner win than an American win, hey?
For sure. I was going to say that. So who were your tips like before play started?
Before play, I had, you're not going to be happy with this, but I had Justin Thomas and Tony Finau, and they're up there. And I took them purely on form and ball striking. I didn't worry too much about putting. Justin Thomas had won at the Players' Championships early on, 3 weeks ago, and took Lee Westwood down the stretch there. And Tony Finau, he's not a winner, but he's just one of those solid players. So, Mark Leishman wasn't at the top of my list. Cam Smith was. Adam Scott was. For the Australians, Jason Day's had more hits than Elvis. He's struggling a little. He's struggling a little bit with his game. But Matty Jones, what a good round for him. This is only second for the Aussies. This is only his second tournament at Augusta National, and they reckon you've got to go there 4 or 5 times before you really know the golf course. So, big efforts from all of us.
Justin Rose is a leader by 1, and Leishman is back only a couple of shots, so cannot wait for the weekend. The Masters channel runs all weekend on Fox Sports with live coverage of every round, including Amen Corner. How about this, boys? In 4K. Watch on Foxtel or stream on KO. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for being with us, Gowie, and enjoy what is Christmas for you, big fella, the last couple of rounds of the Masters.
Oh, can't wait. Early mornings. Thanks, fellas.
Another Sydney Saturday morning. Now around the track for another lap.
Absolutely brilliant.
The Triple M Dead Set Legends.
The Dead Set Legends on Sydney's 104.9 Triple M. Wendell Saylor, Jude Bolton and Gus Warland. And it's all thanks to playup.com.au, your best bet on racing and sport. Be part of the conversation at any time. Give us a call on the show on 133353. And please don't forget to subscribe to the Dead Set Legends podcast on the Triple M app to listen anytime at triplem.com.au. This is a quick-fire footy preview. Let's go for it. The Rabbitohs already over the Broncos. Manly defeated the Warriors. The Panthers gave it to the Raiders. What about today? Titans versus Knights live on Triple M.
I'm going the Titans here at home.
All over the Titans, obviously. No Mitch Pearce as well for Newcastle.
Exactly. They win about 20% of their games when Mitch Pearce isn't available, so I'm going the Titans as well. What about the Bulldogs and the Storm? Will the Bulldogs score a point, let alone win the game?
Yeah, they'll score 1 or 2 tries, but I think Storm will smash them.
Storm, mate. Pappenhausen, 4 in 11 minutes the other day. Wow.
What a player. Yep, I'm going the Storm as well. What about the Roosters up against the Sharks at the SCG?
I'll give Sharks a bit of a chance here, but I can't go past the Roosters. Sam Walker, great debut last week, so Roosters for me.
Sharks have started well, but 2-2. But yeah, Chooks for me.
Yep, Chooks for me as well. What about tomorrow? Tigers versus Cowboys, live on Triple M. You'll be there at Leichhardt, Wendell?
Yeah, I'll be there with the great Benji Marshall, the Tiger King. So I'm going to go the Tigers here at home. They're hard to beat. Tamalolo comes back for the Cowboys, but they're in a lot of trouble there. And unfortunately for Michael Morgan, too, had to retire. I said it earlier in the show.
Tigers for me, yes.
Yep, Tigers for me. What about Parramatta versus the Dragons, also live on Triple M at 6:15?
Yeah, I think Easter Monday was a cracking game. The Eels got home, Blake Ferguson, Rocks and Diamonds. But look, Dragons are playing some good football. I'm going the Eels here.
Parramatta for me.
Yeah, Parramatta for me too. And what about in the AFL? So far, Sydney defeated Essendon by 3 points. A cracker at the G to start 4-0. Port Adelaide in what could be a grand final preview got up by 2 points over Richmond. Yep. Tonight it's Collingwood against the GWS Giants live on Triple M.
Giants are struggling a little bit, so I'm going to tip the Pies for this one.
I'm going the Giants. I think they can bounce back this week.
Okay, there you go. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend. We look forward to seeing you next week on the Dead Set Legend.